guys hear me? We can see chats on YouTube, right? Yeah, I'll do it again. It was Brooke Klinger and Tori. Yeah.
Scott, what was your favorite part of the 90s? How old were you in the 90s?
In the 90s, in 1991, I was like 10. I loved the 90s. Ninja Turtles, Full House.
Favorite music?
There was good music back then. Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer, Nirvana, Bush, Lightning Crashes. It was that live.
Oh, Live. That was a good one.
Okay, people aren't coming in yet, but they'll start to come in.
We see Leslie.
Abby's here.
Can you see me?
Leslie's here.
On.
Amber's in. We got people starting to come in. Scott, you wanna tell them what happened?
Well, you know, when you dial up the internet and someone gets on the phone line, you got to go and unplug the Ethernet cable out of your computer, plug it into the phone. That's what happened. The AOL internet from the 90s. I mean, it's just getting started. But people are in.
Yep, people are coming in. Yep.
That was a great opportunity to go to the bathroom, grab a snack, quick bite to eat. Let's see some comments if you can hear me. Comment in the chat feature.
Who am I hearing? I'm hearing somebody over the mic.
Is it Scott?
Yeah,
Scott, is
yeah.
there audio on your phone? Come on, go over here. All right, waiting for people to filter in.
Okay, people are coming back in, so we're getting up and running again. But we were just talking a little bit about the 90s, how great they were.
So that means that people didn't see Bree's video.
Jory's video, I think we should revisit that in a minute. And then we'll keep this show going. But let's see. People see the new link on YouTube. We're live on YouTube.
Spread the word, it's on YouTube. We see people coming in.
Let's see some comments real quick if you can chat in. What were some of your favorite 90s memories? Maybe your favorite TV shows you watched, some of your favorite songs, your memories.
Full House.
Full House. I love Full House. Uncle Jesse,
Oh, Uncle Jesse.
Rebecca,
90210.
Joey Gladstone, 90210. Who watched that one?
I loved.
Some good times back then. Oh my goodness. The Wonder Years. Was that 90s? Fred Savage?
Played in the 90s.
Or was that late 80s? I remember watching some of those shows. All right, well,
They asked, did those props come from someone's basement?
we took a little time machine back in time. Who remembers these? My kids don't even know what this is anymore. Sad. Okay, well, once we get a few more people in here, we're going to revisit Lance and get that video for Bree. Bree's here? Yep. Bree and Jory. Bree, we got a special video for you coming up here. Should we do that now or should we? Okay, Brienne, here you go.
How's it going, Brienne? Lance here, and Danny told me all about you. He says you are an exemplary friend and a big leader and someone who lives to serve those around you, and you always treat everyone with kindness and love and an awesome human all around. And I hear you're an incredible mom to 2 kiddos. You're living a good life, Brienne. All right, y'all take care. Bye.
Bree, that is amazing. Lance, thank you so much. Okay. Let's see, now, once again, we are sad that we don't see these smiling faces.
Well, who won the giveaways?
Oh yeah, we may have not heard the giveaways. Landon brought up a good point. We gave this away to Brooke Klinger, who was in the office just a couple of months ago with her family. Great to see you here. And it was Tori, right? Tori Freckle. Ferkel. Tori Ferkel. So congratulations, Brooke and Tori. This is coming to you. And there we go. So yeah, once again, let's see some of those smiling faces at home that we miss here. The slideshow. Landon, hit it. All right, we're back. Love seeing those faces. Okay, so we've heard about some amazing products so far. I think it's only appropriate now that we learn a little bit more in depth about them. We're going to have Abby and Shalane do a deep dive and give us a little more information on these products. So Danny's making me laugh, but anyway, Shalane and Abby, deep dive. We're gonna learn a little bit more here. So here we go.
Hello everyone, we are so excited to introduce you to the 3 new products and get down to the nitty-gritty details. We hope you are jumping out of your seat with excitement because we have had the hardest time not spilling the beans.
And keep in mind, this is going to be a condensed version of a normal deep dive. We only have 35 minutes to talk about 3 products, but when the time comes, we will go in depth on Venture Group like we usually do with really detailed information on everything.
Have no fear, we will get to it. But this is actually pre-recorded. We wanted to give you a really good experience, so we're gonna be in the comments so we can answer any questions. And that way, we just felt like this was the best way to be able to tell you about the ingredients in the short amount of time and get into those details to get you off and rolling really quickly with these awesome new products. And we're gonna keep our computers here because we wanna make sure we get all the good ingredient details to you.
Okay, so let's start with dry shampoo. This is a product we've all been waiting for. It's something that is so perfect for busy moms, college students, and anyone else who has a crazy life. Casey talked a little bit about this before. She went into some details on the product, but we're gonna go further in depth talking about the 4 ingredients that make it great.
4 ingredients, you guys. It's incredible. It is a total game changer.
Yes, and you might have heard in the news lately, there's been a little bit of controversy on aerosols and dry shampoos.
people's hair was falling out. Like, if you want to just put that out
That's
there,
not good.
people's hair was falling out from icky dry shampoos that they were using.
Yeah.
Like, that's gross.
That is gross. And this is, so our dry shampoo is something that you're going to feel safe having in your home, spraying in your bathroom, having your husband or spouse walk into the room and
Your child
you're not
could
going to
use
say
it.
cloud. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be awesome.
Not that I'm saying children need this, but I just am saying it's that safe. 4 ingredients. So I'm going to tell you what makes Reset Dry Shampoo so incredible. So helps absorb excess oils. Awesome. Promotes volume in hair, helps absorb elements of sweat. Hello, if you don't have time to wash your hair right after that workout. Yeah. It's an odor absorber, thank the heavens, helps nourish hair and scalp so you're not getting all that, just the gross chemicals. You're getting
buildup
stuff
that you
actually
feel.
helps.
Yeah.
You're putting stuff on that helps. It helps hair look and smell and feel fresh. It's vegan, cruelty-free, and it's unscented, which...
Yeah, so we decided to go unscented because we already know you have so many products in your home that you're using. You're using a deodorant, you're using a shampoo, a conditioner, maybe a perfume, maybe a lotion, and all of that building up scent confusion, you know?
Yeah.
So we decided to go unscented and we're really excited about that.
Yeah. Plus it has all these odor absorbing ingredients, so you don't even need a scent. It's going to return to that really good natural scent.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to these 4 ingredients because you guys, 4 ingredients. Like I can't,
It doesn't
I
get
love
better
it.
than that.
I know it doesn't get better than
It's so
that.
great.
It's simple, but so effective. And these ingredients just like make me so excited.
Yes.
I just want to scream it from the rooftops. So,
Okay, you start with the first one.
bentonite clay powder. I didn't say that right. Bentonite clay powder. Okay, so this helps promote volume in hair. It helps absorb excess oils. And it helps with scalp health, okay? So, I did not love dry shampoos before this because I would spray it in and then it just felt like there was stuff on my scalp.
And it's like wet and not,
yes, and it almost felt like you could if you scratch your head, you're like, there's stuff in my feet. Like it just felt gross and heavy. So this is like the opposite. It's helping that scalp. It helps detox hair, get rid of excess oils, and actually helps with dandruff because it kills the fungus that can cause dandruff. Like, amazing. It moisturizes, it enhances shine, promotes hair growth. Oh my gosh, postpartum hair loss.
Right.
Like, we
These
got
little
this.
hairs.
Yeah, and it helps do that by unclogging hair follicles. So I don't know if you know, but a lot of times, and usually you see it in like male pattern baldness, that you'll see like it's actually the shininess is clogged pores and it's kind of clogging those hair follicles. So kind of interesting there, but it can help improve the look and feel of the hair. It's awesome. It also helps draw out excess dirt and oil. So it's actually kind of cleaning,
cleansing
wall
at the same
it
time.
out.
Yeah, which
Boom.
is so great. That's the first perfect ingredient. Okay, the next one is sodium bicarbonate. This one helps also absorb elements of sweat, odor, and it even helps eliminate odors, which is why we don't need it to be scented because it's locking in those odors, pulling them off your scalp, and you're not smelling them at all. It helps also form an alkaline solution when it comes to contact with water, which releases free radicals that help managing pain and inflammation of the skin, which is due to inflammatory and antiseptic properties.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Big mouthful, but awesome ingredient.
Yeah.
So it really does cool stuff. Our next ingredient is cacao powder. It nourishes hair and scalp. So, everybody's like dark chocolate's good for you. Yeah. But it is, okay?
Even your hair.
Yeah, we're going to put it in our hair. We love chocolate so much. Unless you're Danny. Danny doesn't like chocolate. So this nourishes hair and scalp, and it actually can add a little bit of darker tones to hair. So the thing I want to cover here is a lot of people say, well, I'm blonde.
Yeah.
Does that mean my hair is going to go brown? No. It's very light. You'll see it in the bottle when you pump it out.
Yeah.
Super light.
It's almost translucent when you pump it. Like I don't
Yes.
notice a huge a difference in the color when we do that. And something else to keep in mind is I know in Walmart you see or other stores you see different colorings. Like you see a yellow, a brown, you don't need that. We don't need to color it because it's not showing up on your scalp.
Coloring is just adding more dyes and more stuff to it. So you really don't need that. But cacao powder is awesome. It's rich in vitamins A, B1, B2, B3, C, E. Rich in minerals, magnesium, calcium, iron. Like this is awesome.
It's such a great
They contain
ingredient.
caffeine, which if you've heard about caffeine benefits for the skin, you're getting that. It's nourishing. You can't go wrong with this ingredient. It's amazing. It includes magnesium and zinc, which help fight hair loss, and calcium, which helps promote healthy hair growth. So you also have that like dual benefit
so many elements
with it. So it's just awesome. Like that's a great ingredient. Yeah.
Yes.
So our last ingredient?
Last one. Okay, so arrowroot powder. I'm sure many of you have heard of this. It's been used for a really long time. I wouldn't say not necessarily in dry shampoo because this is a bit of a new thing.
We're the game changers, guys.
We are. So, but this arrowroot helps to absorb the oils, which is what you're seeing when you're feeling your hair is greasy or dirty, is those oils that are natural and they're healthy. But then when you don't have time, That's when it absorbs the oils, which is great. It also contains really beneficial vitamins and minerals, zinc like the other one, also iron, potassium, vitamin B6. This also helps absorb natural sweat and promotes healing, which we talked about in the scalp. And I know you can, when you're constantly brushing and all the things, putting your hair in a pony, it's creating inflammation and damage on your scalp. Yeah. So this is great.
Ponytails can be high or like tight
and heavy.
On the hair.
Yeah. And also it's been known to make your hair softer, smoother, less oily since it absorbs excess oils. In addition, it's a great texturizer and filler with thickening properties used for skin and hair. So it just gives you more of a volume, which you'll notice when you spray it in. I know Casey talked about this a little bit. It does make your hair feel a little bit more full, and that's easy to style, and it looks great.
It does. It's awesome. So if it's even possible to get more exciting, we're going to move on to the next product. We know that was a lot of information thrown your way, but take a minute to observe it. We're going to have a lot more information coming at you with all the launches. So don't worry. We'll have more of that information, but that'll get you off the bat running, and you're going to be like, jaw dropped, right? The fun doesn't stop with Reset Dry Shampoo, because now we're moving on to Lash Serum. Another product that we've all been waiting for. Could not be more excited about this. There are a lot of lash serums and a lot of lash products out there, but a lot of them contain really harsh ingredients. And one of those ingredients in particular that is in the majority of them can cause darkening of the retina, skin irritation, and burning of the eyes in a lot of people. And so obviously, we've left that out for good reasons.
Yes. I personally have had a hard time finding one that works for me, that doesn't cause any redness, irritation. I wake up in the morning like, why did I put that on last night?
Really? Oh, yes. I didn't know that.
And I'm like, maybe it's just my skin super sensitive. But then doing more research in these ingredients, we've realized that this is not something that we want in our lash serum.
It happens quite a lot, and that's one of the biggest complaints and concerns with these and some of them contain drugs. And so, people who aren't comfortable with that or different things, it's just not for them. So we wanted to create something really healthy, really awesome for those lashes, and also not an irritant.
Yes. So we kind of went a different route. We went a lot of skin conditioning agents, which is helping the hair follicles because you're putting it along the lash line. And this is something that's once you're always rubbing your eyes, you're just getting so many irritants that we don't need to keep adding more irritants on it, especially right before you're going to bed. Yeah. You're closing your eyes and it's just kind of seeping in, and it goes down also onto your lower lashes too, which is something.
If you think about lash health, your lashes are there to protect stuff from getting in your eyes.
Yeah.
So your lashes are getting it all.
Yeah.
They're getting pollutants, they're getting all sorts of things. Plus you rub your eyes, dry them out. You irritate those, the skin right there, drying it out, and a lot of things. So keeping those really well nourished is an awesome thing that will help that hair growth cycle.
So we focused on adding amino acids, healthy key ingredients, peptides, and things that we weren't seeing in a lot of other lash serums. So let's dive in.
It's awesome. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about, there are a lot of ingredients. We're going to cover some highlighted ones that we just love, that are amazing, but acetyl tetrapeptide 3. So this is a peptide. It's a 4 amino acid peptide, and it helps combat hair loss. So Lindsay talked a little bit about hair cycle, and so you kind of got a little education on that already, and you can dive into it more yourself, and we'll dive into it in our the real deep dives that will be on Facebook. But those help combat hair loss. So unique combinations of this with our next ingredient, they've been clinically shown to improve the appearance of hair loss and eyelashes in particular. So really strong ingredient. It's awesome.
Yes. Okay, so the next one that goes hand in hand with that is the red clover flower extract. It's in the same family as peas and beans, which is interesting. It's a wildling flower plant.
Put a little bean on your eye.
Right. I'm like, that's interesting. That's healthy to eat, right? So it's got to be healthy for my lashes. And this ingredient is known for its ability to aid in improvements to the hair and skin texture, appearance, and overall quality. It may hold nutrients of vitamin C, calcium, and potassium. I know in other lash serums, you'll see a lot of length, but you necessarily won't see thickness. This is an ingredient that's really going to help with fullness and overall appearance of the lashes.
Yeah, so length is different because you're actually just prolonging that hair growth cycle.
Yeah, so
you're changing your actual natural hair growth cycle. This is actually just improving your natural hair growth cycle. So keeping it natural,
with the cycle.
but getting more hair follicles.
And it's there to nourish the new lashes that are growing in with each cycle, which is why you're getting fullness and growth, because every time your lash cycle is completing, you're moisturizing it with this awesome serum.
It's awesome. Okay, so next ingredient that we're going to cover is glycine. It's an amino acid as well. You're going to hear that term a lot with lash serum. But amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So glycine works better it works to better the visible signs of aging. So aging, you're also seeing more hair loss, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like overall in your body, right? When you age, we start not producing as much hair, your hair lane cycle, those change. So this helps with visible signs of aging. It increases moisture retention, so helping that eyelid retain that moisture. It also boosts collagen production. Collagen's a tricky word. We love collagen. And it promotes skin repair and regeneration. So you're getting that really good health on the eyelid that can help those hair cycles. It's also thought to help support healthy collagen production and stimulation. So kind of two keywords there, the health and stimulation of collagen, which helps with that hair growth. And I mean, I know people have seen amazing hair growth benefits with our multi-collagen.
Yeah.
This is just another form and concentrated on the eyelid.
Yeah, which is great. And the next ingredient, all of these will flow hand in hand, and that's why we kind of chose them, something that supports it. Something that we all need in the lash serum. So this one is clover extract. This is known for its anti-aging actions for the aged, dry skin, and stimulating, again, activity for hair growth. So when you're going through those lash cycles, it's stimulating growth and allowing it to grow.
And I just
correctly.
love the clover. I don't know. It's just so
it's
fun.
so cool.
Such a cool ingredient. Okay, the last ingredient we're going to cover is Serene. So Serene, it's used in cosmetics and the personal care industry as a skin conditioning agent. So it's a hair conditioning agent as well. So skin and hair conditioning agent because of its ability to replenish the cysteine levels in the hair, and it keeps it strong and smooth. So you want the hair to remain strong so that you don't have the breakage and the loss that you would normally have if it's not strong.
Yeah, and you're still getting that protection that you need from your lashes. A lot of times I think we forget that these are really to protect from dirt and all the other things that come into it. So overall, I think
those long, beautiful lashes have benefits too.
I think overall the lash serum truly has so many good ingredients that are going to help our lash cycle be healthy and not prolong it like some other lash serums. We just want to go with what's natural. We want to keep it healthy.
You're not going to wake up with red puppy eyes.
Seriously, I was like, why? And I'd have a line.
Oh,
a red line, like exactly where the serum was applied. So obviously,
that's so ouchy. Anyway,
stop doing that.
Covered the importance of serums, which I was really glad. I loved that she covered that because serums are awesome and they're made to penetrate a little bit deeper into the skin to really get concentrated benefits. So that's why you're seeing this in a serum form. And you guys, the trials, we've had people testing this out for how long?
Gosh.
Months.
6 months almost.
Yeah, I was going to say
a long time.
Months because we've really been wanting to track progress. We have before and after pictures that show the thickness and the fullness increasing. You're going to love it. Yeah, I just can't wait to get it in your hands.
And one thing, I know Lindsay touched on this as well, it can be used on your eyebrows. So for those of you who maybe are like, I want my eyebrows fuller, this can be used on that as well. And it's going to just create awesome results.
It is. So awesome. Maybe Danny can use it on his mustache. He doesn't have very good he can't do the beard that Landon can do. So you might see Danny applying lash serum, right? Anyway, you guys, it's a wrap up for lash serum. We're going to move on to our next product, which is our wipes. So our Simply Pure water-based all-purpose wipes. Wipes, we all use them for so many things, right?
A lot of them. We use a lot of wipes.
One thing we really wanted to make sure, because it was important to us, you know that we love our microfiber towels and our makeup removing cloths. So we wanted to make sure our wipe was really good for the environment, right? So it's made from viscose, which actually comes from trees. So it's really biodegradable, which was important to us. And I love that fact. Our wipe is actually a little bit textured because if you're familiar with lots of different types of water wipes, I feel like I've tried them all. Have you?
Yes.
And Danny'd be like, nope, don't buy this one anymore. And it's just slipping, sliding.
Yeah, lots of moisture.
Some were too hard, some were too soft. We nailed it on the head.
Yes.
It's the perfect texture, a little bit of grippiness, but not too much where you're like, ouch, you know? It's awesome. I love too that this is an all-purpose wipe. So really great for babies. We're going to talk about the specific benefits in a second, but it's for babies. But then guess what? If you need a quick makeup remover, we got you.
Yes.
Yep. This covers it. So do you want to talk about a few of the differentiators?
Yeah. So let's talk about what makes it great, what makes it different than something else that's on the market.
And there's a lot. So buckle your seatbelts.
Yes, there is. This list is really long, but it's great. It's good that we have all this.
With so many wipes out there, we really, we didn't want to just do another Me Too product. You guys know this about us. And so we really wanted to make sure we were covering a lot of bases and getting you the best wipe.
Yeah. So one thing that is different is it isn't what do they say, 99% water. Like ours is a little bit different because we wanted to add in other ingredients that would make it different, and also something that's so useful and has a lot of studies behind it.
Yeah.
So something that makes it great is it strengthens the skin's natural defense. It's an all-purpose wipe. It's derived or infused with probiotics.
Ding, 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 ding.
Awesome.
We're going to get to that later.
It's fragrance-free, made for sensitive skin, hypoallergenic. Of course, in line with our mission, no parabens, synthetic fragrances, alcohol, harsh chemicals, and textured grip wipes. Jillian talked about that. Safe for hands, face, feet, bottoms. It also can be used like on countertops.
Yeah.
With anything.
I don't know how many times so I've been using them for a little bit, but I can't tell you how many times like you wipe down the little high chairs.
You just don't stop. Yeah.
Like everything. Yeah. We use them for a lot. I have a toddler, so it's like my best friend is a wipe.
Right. These are safe. These are free from formaldehyde donors.
That's a big one.
That is a big one.
I don't think people understand how many wipes contain those. And that's actually why we included some of the ingredients we did, is because some water wipes that are so much water really don't have the protection against gross things incurring or like...
And they can't really be used at places like on the high chair or the restaurants, stuff like that, because they just don't have enough. It's just water, you're just, which is great in its own. These are also cruelty-free. They're vegan, non-irritating. We've done some clinical tests on them, which is awesome.
Lots of testing.
Yeah.
We wanted to back these up with really good testing.
Yes, definitely. Clinically tested, allergy tested, hypoallergenic, dermatology reviewed.
Boom.
Which
we
is
have a dermatologist review stamp on these.
Yes, which is great. And then let's move on. I guess we don't.
Yeah. So it is Prop 65 compliant. So we wanted to make sure for all of our California people with wipes, that's a bigger one, to be Prop 65 compliant. So these are compliant. So good for that there. All of the ingredients are an EWG rating of 1. So very, very calm, really good ingredients.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's dive into a little bit of ingredient. I'll have you start off with ingredients, but one thing I want you to know is whenever you wipe the skin, you're wiping off moisture, essential oils to the skin that protect the skin, right? As well as gross stuff too. Like, yes, you're wiping off peanut butter or whatever else you're wiping off, poop, right? You want to just get down to it. But you're also stripping the skin of its essential moisture and the microbiome on the skin. You can alter that with wipes, even water wipes or whatever it is. So that's kind of important as we go into ingredients.
Okay, so I'm going to start with cucumber fruit extract. First of all, the scent, the smell of the wipes, they are unscented, but you will get a fresh, I think it's just a really fresh overall.
Cucumber just smells fresh.
Just fresh,
There's not really a smell.
It's not like our scent,
kind of
but
cooling,
it just smells, really calming.
It reminds me of aloe.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's maybe not, it's probably not in the same family, but it's very similar in like the cooling effect.
Faint, not overpowering. So the cucumber fruit extract in this, it's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, has great skin conditioning properties. As you know, you always see cucumber in a lot of lotions.
Put it on your eyes.
Cooling, revitalizing. Okay, then I'm going to touch on coconut, and I'll let you touch on the other two. Okay, so coconut fruit extract, we use this in tons of products. We have a
You guys know we love
coconut derived? It's just
such a power ingredient.
It's so good. It's so smoothing. It has hydrating properties, just allowing it, like we said, to replenish what you're wiping away when you're using.
You want good moisturizers that mimic the skin's natural moisturizers, which we found a lot in coconut. Like coconut oil has done. Really, coconut ingredients have done well with that.
And if you're wiping a baby or a toddler, you're constantly doing that. You're feeding them. You're wiping off their face. That gets like overuse, like you're constantly doing that. So having something that's going to replenish the skin and not leave them itchy or drier is the best.
Marcus has really sensitive skin. I think the most sensitive probably of all my children. And so I do notice like he'll get like a little bit of redness around his face if you're wiping too
a lot,
much or too harshly.
Yeah.
So Llama Lotion to the rescue.
Yes.
But now no more. I'm not going to have to worry about that. Okay, so we're going to talk about the probiotic a little bit. So we have 2 ingredients in here that you'll recognize because it's a very common term.
Yes.
But lactobacillus and then lactobacillus ferment. So 2 ingredients, and they go hand in hand. They come from the same thing. But lactobacillus is a probiotic. It helps restrict growth of bad bacteria on the skin. Awesome. Exactly what you want, right? And it also helps to condition the skin. So that's what you're getting with the lactobacillus. The lactobacillus ferment, it's also a probiotic, but it helps strengthen the skin's natural defenses. So you're getting that defense, strengthening properties against sensitivity. So really important ingredients. And what I think really sets us apart because they're calm probiotics.
Yes.
We've talked about it in our skincare, in our women's line skincare, Purity, Illuminate, Replenish. They have prebiotics and probiotics. We're talking about those probiotics on the skin because you want to keep them healthy. Yeah. So really cool ingredients that can help that microbiome, especially as you keep stripping it off,
over and over.
right?
Yes.
And if you want to put this in terms of like, if you need a quick makeup wipe, for whatever purpose, or, I was at the store yesterday actually, and Marcus got into the makeup samples and did a nice dark red makeup line, lipstick line all right here. He just stuck his fingers in. So now you know what happens to the samples. Don't use them.
Yes.
But he found those and it was like so easy to just wipe it off.
Yes.
So that was actually when we used it in terms of a toddler and a makeup wipe at the same time. But it was perfect and it took it off really nicely and didn't irritate his skin. Because like I said, he has a little bit more sensitive skin.
Yeah,
so
that's great. And then we do have a few other skin conditioning agents, which are great. We've used them in a bunch of our other products, like our lotions and stuff like that.
So you'll recognize them, caprylic triglyceride, you'll recognize that one. Several other, or a few others you'll recognize. I guess we don't have several other ingredients, but a few others you'll recognize from us using in our other skincare products because they're great moisturizing agents and soothing agents, which is what you want when you wipe.
And I think it's important for us to keep in mind, like when we find an ingredient that we love and that we know is sourced well and great, we're going to keep using it because we see the results of it and there's no reason to go finding something else.
We're confident in that sourcing too. Sourcing is a big deal.
Yeah.
And this kind of leads us actually to our product philosophy as we wrap up. You're almost done with the ingredient dump, right? The knowledge dump. But this leads us to our product philosophy. We strive really hard to follow our mission, right? But to keep products safe, effective, and natural. So that's really where we look for all of our ingredients. We want to make sure that they fall in those categories and that our products fall in those categories. So that they're derived from natural ingredients and that we get those really good benefits from good natural ingredients because not all ingredients are the same.
Which is
synthetic and natural. So you have the really big differentiators in both categories. So we want to make sure our ingredients stand up to the test of having good integrity so that our products will perform how you want and need them to perform. Because there's nothing more frustrating than buying products and being like all those wipes I bought, and Danny's like, why? These are so slippery, or they're so hard, or we used them, but kind of begrudgingly.
Totally. And I can attest, stepping into kind of a new role, doing the research on ingredients, working with manufacturers, just how important it really is. I've been learning so much just about ingredients and the time that we take. We truly take so much time making these ingredients. Special sounds like cheesy, but seriously, we go through every single formula that we're working on and we debate and we test internally and we change things and get new revisions so that when we have our final product, we're getting it the top of the line for you guys and for your families.
Stamp of approval, really. We never would give you anything that we wouldn't use ourselves, and that's big for us because we have some pretty big critics here. We're parents.
We're moms,
We're moms. We're individuals that care about what we're putting on and in our body, even if, married or with kids. A lot of people don't have kids in our office. And so we have a lot of good test subjects and good critics that help us keep that. But I lost my train of thought, what I was going to say. I wanted to say, so as we roll these products out, you'll see the information decks that will come out. We release an info deck with every product. We call it info deck. Information deck, I think, is the long name.
Yeah.
But we release them for every product, and it will go through every single ingredient, why it's in the formula. That's really important to us. So you know that these aren't just fillers. They're there for a purpose and for a reason, and we have investigated every single one thoroughly.
Yes.
Abby knows this because she's like, holy
cow.
That's
what I do.
It's this is in depth. And we also look, when we talk about safe, effective, natural, safe, obviously we want to make sure these ingredients are safe. Low EWG scores, safe for the individual and safe for the environment. And then effective, we look for clinical backing for these ingredients so that these ingredients have good clinical information that we can feel confident putting in our product.
And that you guys can feel confident when you're finding someone else who you're trying to help and trying to reach out for. We would never want you to feel nervous about sharing a product, or there's an ingredient that you don't feel safe about like using on your own family, you're not going to want to share that product with anyone else. So I think that just totally aligns with our mission. We're always working hard to create products that you are excited about and that you want to share to your friends and family too.
It's really easy to share stuff you're already using. And that's really where it comes to help strengthen and protect families and individuals. So we hope you enjoyed this. We hope you love the ingredients as much as we do.
Yes.
And we hope you have a great rest of the day at Summit and get ready for all the fun that's coming.
He gave me the countdown, so I guess I'm on. Thanks, Shalane and Abby. I hope you guys learn about those products, especially in detail. I think deep dives are always helpful. I'm sure for you guys, but for us too, when we have customers come in, it's really helpful to at least know a little bit about the ingredients, because oftentimes that's how you can sell them, you know? Those are the things that they might not know on their own, and so when you position yourself as a resource of information, which you are because of the resources we give you, it can overall help your business a lot. A little note on the info decks, since we do have those, or I guess just the dry shampoo launching next week, so I guess not next week, but the week after, we will have that info deck available soon. The other info decks will be coming closer to the launch time, so we'll be in touch with you there. As you can see, I've got another prize box right here. Before I get into this cash box, we're gonna talk about free lunch. Do you want a chance to win free lunch tomorrow? If so, make sure you're in the Summit group. We've got a post about what to do, how to win. We'd love to see your comments, your pictures, who you're with. We'll be announcing those winners tonight at the recognition dinner so that you can be prepared for tomorrow. Tummy's full, ready for our session tomorrow, which will be in the morning. It's not gonna take too long, so you'll wanna plan lunch right when the session ends, most likely. All right, time for some trivia. First off, let me tell you about this box. It's got $100 cash. Don't count this up because it might not add up exactly, but you will get $100. A cute little bag. This is actually corduroy, and then a clay pack with our new design. So, trivia question. Let me just read it again, just a second. Oh, yep. Which popular book series began in 1993? I hope that's the right year. You guys have probably read this series. I know I've read this series. It's 1997, Abby just told me. 1997. Which popular book series? They'll be looking for your questions. Oh, we've got a winner.
Okay, Linda Greenstreet.
Linda Greenstreet, you were right. Harry Potter. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, next we've got a drawing. Let me grab the bowl. Oh, I grabbed two, so let me just look at the one of them. Oh, they're still together. Not picking and choosing, I promise. All right, Ashley Scown, you're gonna win this box as well. Yeah, congrats. Okay, like you've probably noticed over this session, we're almost coming to a close. We've got one more phenomenal speaker who I'll introduce in a second. But first, we've got one last video from our lovely friend Lance Bass. Emphasis on the lovely. He's gorgeous, you guys. You might have noticed these shout outs have been going to our presidentials, and there's one more who we haven't talked about. Mindy Jimenez, or Jimenez, however you want to say it. Mindy, I hope you're on because this one is for you.
How's it going, Mindy? Lance here, and Danny tells me that you're always making the courageous move. You're assertive and always stand up for what you need. You're a great leader, making powerful moves, and have passion, inner drive to make big things happen. You're a good one there, Mindy. All right, y'all take care. Mwah.
Oh, thank you so much, Lance. You're beautiful. That's our last Lance Bass video, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you missed it, or if you want to rewatch them a few times, they'll be available on the replay. All right, next up we have our keynote speaker, Ben Light. You guys, he's an ultra marathon runner. I'm talking like hundreds and hundreds of miles at a time. 13 miles is hefty to me. Hundreds of miles, this guy's got it. So Ben Light, if you want to come on up.
All right, everybody. I am really, really excited to be here, to be able to share my story with you and to share what I've learned from running hundreds of miles all over the world. Just to start out, let me give you guys a little background about how I came to find or came to know To the Woods. I'm a local athlete here in Utah, and with this being a Utah-based company, when the To the Woods started its production of products, they reached out to me and said, "Boy, you have a magnificent beard, and we have beard products just for men." And I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, like I get hit up all the time about products, and the products that I endorse, it's kind of goes towards my integrity, because if I'm going to get on my social media and talk about with my friends and my followers about a product, I need to believe in it. So when they reached out to me, I said, yeah, you can send me a gift basket and I'll give it a shot, but nothing's going on my Instagram or my social media unless I actually believe it and love it. And received the package. It was amazing. It like the gift box itself had the wood in it and the smell and the aroma, and I'm like, now this is a man's gift basket. And I used the product for about a week, and I was in love. I messaged To the Woods. I said, this product is amazing. I've used so many different beard oil products out there, and nothing has made my beard so soft. And I'll just tell you this, even my wife sees the difference. And so I just wanted to give a plug out, and the relationship started from there. And so I want to thank To the Woods and for making such a great product, and I'm excited about in getting more involved with To the Woods and with Wink and with each one of you. And I wanted to give you guys a thank you. I'm going to talk a little bit about my project that you guys may or may not have been following along just this last about a week ago for 10 days. It goes along in with my presentation, and I'm going to be addressing that. But let me give you some background on me, okay? And so first, I am a husband and I am a father way before I am an athlete. I value my role as a father and as a husband far greater than any athletic accomplishment that I've ever achieved. And I have been very blessed to have a very supportive wife. As you can see, we met later in life. I had been married for 15 years, went through divorce. I had 3 amazing children, and this woman came into my life, and she is definitely my best friend and soulmate. To give you an example of how amazing she is, for our honeymoon, we traveled to Cozumel to do an Ironman. She is a triathlete. I am an ultra runner. It was my first Ironman. It was a bucket list item. I said, sure. I just got done with running a 200-mile ultra marathon a few weeks earlier. I can stick it out for an Ironman. And lo and behold, she beat me by an hour. She is an incredible athlete. Well, I have to give a big shout out to my parents and my family, because I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't to having good mentorship as parents. They were really big into the outdoors. My dad, 27 years in the Marine Corps, Special Forces. I look to him as my hero, that he was my who I strived to pattern my life after. And he really paid close attention to each one of us kids. We have 4 boys and a girl, and 3 out of the 4 boys are all Eagle Scouts. We were heavily involved with the outdoors and camping and hiking. Now, that gave me my passion for adventure. I absolutely love adventure. And you couple that with my passion for fitness, and when I found ultra running, when I started to get into running and I started to get into adventuring out into the mountains, it brought those two passions, my fitness and my adventure, and it married them together. Now, I've been on dozens of podiums through my ultra running in events. But what I'm most known for is my projects. Now, let me give you an example. In 2018, it actually started in 2017. In 2017, me and my buddy Mike McKnight from Logan, Utah, we were in a race series called the Triple Crown of 200s. Now, this is 3 200-mile races, all ran within 60 days. And we're in the first race called the Bigfoot 200 up in the Cascade Mountains. And we're about 150 miles in. And over those 150 miles, we were leapfrogging each other back and forth, back and forth. And to give you an example, Mike McKnight actually has the course record for the Bigfoot 200. And at this particular year, we were leapfrogging, and I came upon him at about mile 150, and I said, "Hey, Mike." And he was in the pain cave, and he was hurting, and I was just all giddy and happy, and I was on a high, and I said, "I got this amazing idea. I've always wanted to run the Wasatch 100 being here in Utah, but it starts the same day as what the next race in our Triple Crown series is, the Tahoe 200. The same day these two races start, so I've always ran the Tahoe 200. And I said, I really want to run the Wasatch, but I really want to run the Tahoe. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, I bet you with how fast I'm getting at running these 200 miles, and usually you have about 105 hour time frame, I'm getting done with it with like 30 plus hours to spare. Now, I know I can probably run the Wasatch 100 in under 30 hours, and I was just like, I wonder if I can run the Wasatch 100, catch a flight, start the Tahoe 200 24 to 30 hours behind the actual race, and catch them and finish this race. And so I put that project into effect. And there was hurdles I had to overcome, but I was able to successfully run both of those races the same weekend and finish them both in the top 20% of all the runners running those races. And more importantly is I usually take my projects and I couple it, I partner it with a cause. And at this point, I learned about a nonprofit organization in Sandy, Utah, that helps individuals with neurological injuries, spinal cord injuries, head injuries, and regardless of their ability to pay, they don't turn patients away ever. They could keep coming back in more and more for as much therapy as they want to rehabilitate them. And they do this through donations. And I was able to raise just over $10,000 that helped pay for at least 2 to 3 people for a whole year of treatment. And I was very thankful for my supporters to come together and to watch me take on this challenge myself and help support this nonprofit organization. So another project I did before getting too far into this is in 2020, when COVID hit, all our races were canceled, and then my same friend, Mike McKnight from Logan, we were on a long run one day, and we're just like chit-chatting, and we're like, you know what'd be really cool? You got 2 iconic races in Utah called the Bear 100, which goes from Logan to Bear Lake, and then also that same Wasatch 100 for my Wasatch Tahoe that goes from like Farmington, northern Utah, down to basically Heber City, on the backside of the Wasatch Range. And I was just like, I wonder what the distance is in between the two, and I wonder if we can link them up and run it. And so during that COVID season, Mike, I don't know if I'm a bad influence or not, but he's just like, he watched me do the Wasatch Tahoe, and he's like, I want in on this. And our other friend Dax from Boise, Idaho, he wanted in on it. And so that's what we did. As you can see, we from Bear Lake to Logan to Ogden, all the way down to Midway, just over 300 miles. And just like any project, we partnered. We basically, I had a friend that was in the running community. I knew him from some running events prior. Well, he was preparing for his first Ironman, and he was hit by a car while he was on a training ride. And he was in a coma. He woke up. He's a paraplegic now, and he's going to NeuroWorks for his rehabilitation. His whole life got flipped upside down. But the one thing he said when he woke up from his coma and he realized what had happened to him is, with determination, he's like, I'm still want to complete my Ironman, even as a para-athlete. And so I reached out to him and I said, what do you need? What are you in need of to make this come about? And he's like, I got a hand cycle. As you can see in that picture right there, he has a hand cycle, and but he didn't have his racing wheelchair, and each racing wheelchair is customized for each individual because everybody's body's a little bit different and their paralysis is a little bit different. So we were able to raise $20,000 in order to purchase a racing wheelchair for him, and we partnered with actually the Paralympic coach that resides here in Salt Lake and paid for 2 years of private personal coaching. So these are an example of some of the projects, these endurance projects, these are what I'm best known for in the endurance community. I'm not necessarily known for the fastest and, the guy that's winning all the races and everything like that. But what makes me authentic and unique is my projects that I think up, I work towards, and I execute. And I want to talk a little bit more about projects, because each one of us has passions. I'm not here to convince you to be an ultra runner, even though I think ultra running creates amazing humans. But we all have passions. We all have ideas. And I call them my projects. But we have ideas, and you're like, I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if I could, create this, or I wonder if I can achieve this. And if you're like feeling that desire, that passion to go out and achieve it, then why don't you? That's what I want to talk to you guys about, to actually take the courage and step into that unknown and make it a reality for yourself. And so there's 2 secret ingredients that I've discovered over my years of ultra running and my projects. There's 2 secret ingredients that I've found that is like kind of the secret to success. And the 2 secret ingredients is, and I say balanced, focus, time, and balanced, focused effort. So time and effort are the 2 secret ingredients to anything. I always say it's math. It's all math. Everything, all my projects is just a math problem. It's a problem that you want to achieve this, and so you work backwards, you set milestones and goals to achieve it. And then you put in the time and you put in the effort in order to meet those milestones, create the opportunity, and achieve the goal. And so let's focus on balanced, focused time. And focused is you're focused in on it. It's not just spending the time, it's focused. And being focused is being productive, is the productivity, is the time that you're spending, are you producing? And then frequency, how often are you doing it? And then the third is consistency. Are you making it a pattern? Are you making it a part of your life? Are you doing it on a regular basis? Or are you starting, stopping? Are you making it consistent? And consistency in ultra running is king. You don't have to necessarily have these big, high miles weeks. You just need to be consistent, daily mileage, working and building and spending that time. So the next thing is that balanced effort, that balanced, focused effort. So you're spending the time. Are you putting in the effort? What level of effort are you putting in? Are the effort that you're putting in, is it efficient? Are you just spinning your wheels or not? It's just, you're kind of like kind of a mess, in a way. That's not organized. Or are you fine-tuning your motions and you're creating an efficient process? The next is sustainability. Can you sustain it? Are you putting too much effort to where you're burning yourself out, or are you putting too little of effort where you're leaving yourself more room, like basically it's not as efficient? So sustainability, can you sustain it? And then the capacity, being able to basically the same thing as maintaining in the sustainability of that capacity of how much you're taking on. So those are the two secrets. And then let me go into that even to a little bit further with the time and then the effort. So a lot of people ask about ultra running. Boy, you must be physically fit. You must be, running 300 miles, they can't even fathom. They look at like half marathon and they look at marathon, and I look at marathon going, if you can run a marathon, you can run 100 miles. The difference is it's not physical, it's mental. It's how you perceive of what's possible. And I like to say physical strength will get you to the starting line, but mental strength will get you to the finish line. Once you show up and once you start, the physical is going to depend on how fast you finish, but the mental is going to depend on if you finish at all. So let's talk about physical strength. Physical strength is actually your relationship with your own body. To grow physical strength, to develop physical strength, it's health and fitness. It's rest and recovery. You can't build and grow a muscle if you don't allow it to repair itself. It's diet and nutrition. Your body is kind of like a high-performance vehicle. If you're throwing trash or garbage like gasoline into your engine, what do you expect the performance to be? So dialing in your nutrition, and I'm not here to talk about being vegan or being, paleo or being anything. It's eating healthy and abstaining from processed and unhealthy foods. And you put in the time, you put in the effort, you be efficient, you be consistent, and it's only math. Your body will change, your body will grow stronger. And then tools and resources. Tools and resources from a physical standpoint and becoming efficient is pretty much like gear, clothing, shoes. Running barefoot or running with shoes, you become more efficient, you can run farther and everything like that. There's lots of tools and resources we have in order to help us grow strong bodies. Now, let's talk about mental strength. Now, mental strength is your relationship with yourself, with your mind. Inside here. A lot of people are like, man, what do you think about when you're running for 12 plus hours, for 3 days, for 5 days, for Laps for Lola, for 10 days? What are you thinking about? You have to be really good. You have to be really okay with your own self. And that's mental strength, that developing that mental strength is developing that relationship between you and your mind, yourself. And I have it broken down into 3 parts of mental strength. One's cognitive, one's emotional, and one's spiritual. Let me kind of give you an example of each. And this is honestly the chicken before the egg. Does physical strength happen first, or does mental strength happen? To get up to work out, you have to get up and make the decision. The decisions comes from the mind. You strengthen both. That's why it's balanced. They both are strengthened as you work together. So cognitive mental strength is basically your knowledge, your wisdom, experience. As you gain experience through life and your knowledge increases, you put in that time and that effort, you get more wisdom and you become more efficient. And then creativity and problem solving. When you're ultra running, you're continuously assessing your body. You're continuously assessing the terrain that you're running on. You're continually saying, do I need to eat? Do I need to sleep? Do I need to refuel? You know, if there's something hurting, why is it hurting? How can I counteract it? You're problem solving. You're working through problems. And that is done through the mind. And in our lives, and in anything that you're trying to accomplish, you're going to be faced with problems. And it's going to be up to your mind to work through those problems. There is always a solution. There is always a way to work through it. And then you have your grit and your determination. That is one topic I love because that is held deep inside of you. And grit is something that you develop. I cannot hand you grit. Doing hard things, being determined, pushing through, the perseverance of overcoming what we feel might be impossible. Grit is developed deep within our minds and our souls based off of the circumstances that we put ourselves into. We have to actually choose to put ourselves in this environment to grow that determination. So think about that with your own life and that determination. Nobody can give you that. It's completely 100% up to you. And then perspective and belief. Perspective, what is possible? When I was looking at that Wasatch Tahoe, I was like, is this possible? Do I believe that I can accomplish this? Let's dive deeper into perspective. Perspective is how you see things, how you see yourself, your perspective of yourself, how you see your body, how you see your spirit, how you see others, how you see your life. And it's a very intimate relationship. And it's what you believe about yourself, and it's what you believe about others, and what you believe about your life. And it's very, very important. And it can be developed, putting in that time and that effort. And so let me give you a story. Let me share a story with you. I didn't just start running 200 miles. And there was a point in time I started to run a little bit. I was running only like 6 miles. And I thought, I remember when the first time I ran 6 miles, I thought, this is stupid. Why do people do this? My body hurts. Everything hurts. My lungs hurt. I'm just trying to lose weight. It's my way of trying to, I like to lift weights in the gym. I don't want to run, but I started putting on some weight, and so I needed to do some cardio, and so I'm running, and I found it very difficult. But I started to do it more often. I started putting in the time and effort, and the shorter distances became easier and more efficient, and I started to stretch my distance. Well, I started to learn about ultra marathons, and in my mind, those guys were crazy. People running 100 miles, I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. And so I started to run a little farther and farther until I ran my first 50K. 30 miles. And oh my gosh, you could have shot me and put me out of my misery. 30 miles. It was the hardest thing I had done ever in my life up to that point. Well, soon after I ran this 30 miles, this 50K, I got a message from a friend on Facebook saying, hey, you're getting into this trail running. I have a coworker that has a daughter in Georgia that's coming out to Lake Tahoe to run what this new race called the Tahoe 200. 2014 is its inaugural year. Will you come out and pace her? And a pacer, just to give you some background, is a person that runs with the actual participant, the racer, as a safety-like partner. Basically, someone that's not running the whole race that can make sure that that person is safe, is eating, doesn't get injured. It's, safety in numbers. And so that's what we call a pacer. Will you come out and pace this girl, Lauren, that's going to be running the Tahoe 200 miles around Lake Tahoe? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And so I show up, and we're on our way to race check-in. And Lauren, I could just remember it clear as day. She's sitting in the front seat with her husband, and she turns around and she goes, hey, Ben, and this is our first time meeting, and she's like, how many hundreds have you ran? And I'm like, none. The farthest I've ran is like 30 miles. And you should have seen the flush of white come over her face. She was just like, in her eyes, I remember seeing her eyes in the rearview mirror going, oh my gosh. And her husband turns over to her and says, Lauren, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, did I miss something? And like, what are we talking about? She goes, well, out of 5 pacers, you're the only one that showed up. I have 140 miles of pacing that I need. Well, I said, I'm good for 30. I know that. And so we set out. At mile 60, I came in to help her out. When it was all said and done, I paced her 93 miles of her 200-mile race. If you would have asked me the day before this if I could run 93 miles, I would have said no. Hell no. I'd be like, I need more time. I need more training. I need more fitness, all upstairs in my mental psyche and my mindset and my perspective of what I am capable of. I put up those barriers. But when I removed those barriers and I was doing it for someone else, I had no expectations in myself. I went 3 times farther than I'd ever gone in my entire life. And you can look at the picture. This is the picture of where I pulled out and her husband came in to pace her the last few miles into the finish line. I think she looked better than I did. And she was, 170 miles in, and I only had 93 miles on me. But it changed my perspective. 2 weeks later, I paced a friend at the Bear 100, 50 miles. 2 weeks later after that, I ran my first 50-mile ultramarathon. And I'm like, I can do this. I mean, I'm not the fastest. I have a lot to learn, but I'm capable of doing this. My perspective completely shifted. It blew it out of the water, and I saw things differently. I saw things so much that I wanted to run that Tahoe 200. I had ran half of it. I wanted to run the whole thing. I grew up in Reno, Nevada, going to Lake Tahoe, backpacking with my dad all over that area. I knew it very well. And I wanted to say, I want to run around that lake. So the next, before I go into another story, the next part of mental strength is emotional strength. Now, emotional strength is how you feel inside and how you react to life or to your situation or to what's happening, positive or negative, how you react. Your feelings, your passions, what drives you, your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to achieve this? Why do you want to grow or to be successful? What is behind it? Is it successful in work to help provide for the family? Is it to earn, to purchase a particular item? What is your why? What is your driving force within you? Another is your confidence and your courage, your self-confidence, and the courage in yourself. My perspective, when it shifted, my self-confidence grew in myself. My courage grew. Patience and resilience, that kind of goes, patience, it goes into that time. You have to put in the time. You have to be patient. You know, it's fun when you talk about physical strength. I don't know if any of you go to the gym, but I like to sit back sometimes at the gym and people watch a little bit. I'm kind of observant. I'm doing my own workout, but I'm observant. And it's always fun to watch the individuals get up and do curls in the mirror, or they do a particular muscle group workout, and they get up and they like flex in the mirror, and they're like, just flex. And then they get down and they do another set, and they get back up there and they flex again. Like that one set is going to create such a difference between, like, oh, I can totally see it grow just from that set of 10. It doesn't happen that way, folks. It's not going to happen. You're not going to change your physical appearance in one session. You have to have patience. The same thing with your mind. Your grit, your determination, all that doesn't happen with one event. It comes over time. You have to be patient. And you have to be okay with being patient, because impatience leads to quitting. It leads to getting discouraged. It leads to the negative. We want to stay on the positive. And then your attitude, how you approach things, how you react to things. I like to say attitude and gratitude. Gratitude is the positive side of a person's attitude, what they're thankful for, how blessed they are, what they have rather than what they don't have. And we need to be thankful for our physical bodies, for our mental, for our spiritual. I kind of relate this with in ultra running. People ask, like, do you listen to music? And I don't usually listen to music when I'm trail running. When I get deep into an ultra and it gets to the nighttime, so I've ran all day and I've just been inside my head. I've been out totally present with nature, just kind of soaking it in. Well, I need a little bit of a distraction when you're focused in on a light and you're just like being really present. Sometimes your mind can get a little tired of being positive. So what do? I pop on some music, and the music can change my attitude, and it gives me strength. I notice my performance increases, my tempo picks up. That's why a lot of exercise has that pump or that music, that pop, that bass and everything like that. Is to get that tempo, is to put in that rhythm. Another thing I like to do with my attitude is stand-up comedy. I love to laugh. I'm a very lighthearted person. I laugh all the time. I love to joke around. And when I'm in the pain cave, deep within one of my 200-mile races, I am down. I am just like, I'll pop on like Fluffy or Regan, and just some different stand-up comedy that I download. And just laughing, I notice a difference in my attitude, obviously, but also my performance. My body reacts to how my mental is. So part of the emotional strength is your attitude, is being happy, being positive. So let me talk about the why, the purpose, that passion, that drive, that driving force. Going back to when I finished with Lauren, and I was sitting in this running store talking to a friend that also ran the Tahoe 200 that very same year. And I was telling him about my experience running 93 miles with Lauren, and I'm like, I want to run that race so bad. I want to run around that race. He goes, why don't you? And here we go back to that courage. Why not? Why not you? You didn't think you'd make it 93 miles, but you did. Why not 200? It's only up to you. It's your mental. And so you know what I did? I signed up before I could change my mind. So before I even finished 100 miles, I signed up for the Tahoe 200 in 2015, the very next year, and I had about a year to prepare myself. And so I started to run as many ultramarathon races to learn about nutrition, to learn about hydration, to build my physical body. I didn't know what to expect when I was going to run 200 miles. And so, again, as you can see on this map that has displayed, that is the route around Lake Tahoe. And I don't know if you've ever been to Lake Tahoe, but it's kind of difficult to even look across the lake and see the mountains on the other side. Let alone you can see the route completely goes a lot wider. Half the time we can't even see the lake. We're so far away from the lake and we're up in the mountains. This was super intimidating, but I just felt I needed to try. I needed to try that. And so 2015, around the Tahoe 200, it's 205 miles, 40,000 feet of vertical gain. That is 1.5 Everests climbing up over those 200 miles. And I got in to mile 130. And as you can see from that image that's on your screen, I was trashed. I had never, at 93 miles, I just blew through it about 40 miles. And I was in between aid stations. I was up on a peak during this is like right outside of Incline Village. I'm up on one of the summits. My feet hurt. They were swelling in my shoes. I'd lay down, prop my feet up. And at this point, I planned to quit at the next aid station. I thought that was physically and mentally and emotionally the farthest I could go. I pushed to my limit. Now, when I came down into that aid station, something happened. My daughter, 14 years old, came and joined the crew. She was with my parents for the first part of the race, and now she came and joined the crew. And she was with my crew that was supporting me. And she goes, "Dad," this is before I was even able to tell them. I just barely pulled in. She ran out to greet me as I was running down the mountain into the aid station. She goes, "Dad, I've been looking over your race," we call it the race Bible, your race Bible, and I see that the last section, the last aid station to the finish is 17 miles. Now, my daughter is a freshman in high school. She just joined the cross-country team, and she has been running all summer, preparing for cross-country for her freshman year. And she goes, "I believe I can do that 17 miles. I've never ran that far, but I want to be with you your last 17 miles. Well, here I am, completely ready to quit. And the look in my daughter's eye shifted my perspective. It shifted my why, my purpose, from me and my ego of wanting to say that I ran 200 miles and achieving this goal, which is perfectly acceptable. But it shifted it over to her and her excitement and not letting her down. So I kept my mouth shut. I didn't quit. In fact, my attitude changed and my purpose changed. All I wanted to do was to give my daughter that opportunity. I wanted to experience that opportunity with her. And the only way that I was going to be able to do it was to continue forward and make it to that last aid station. And as you see on the image, this is me with my 14-year-old daughter as we set out for those 17 miles. What I learned was mentally, we are mentally so much stronger, and it adds to our physical bodies. And our purpose is that driving force behind. So when you're setting out to set goals and to achieve goals, look for your purpose. Look for your why, that driving force. This is a picture of me running in with my daughter with my 2 other kids that came out and greeted about 100 yards out. And what a special moment to be able to achieve this run and to share that experience with my kids. This picture right here is just instilled into my soul. I am so thankful for this opportunity. It was the hardest thing physically I've ever endured, but it strengthened me. It strengthened me physically, emotionally, and spiritually. One of the things that you can't have a fear of failure. Failure is not a negative thing. The world has created unsuccessful attempts or a person as a failure. Failure is not, and it's not an identity, and it's not a label. It's a process. It's a step in the process to success. If you don't succeed the first time, what do? You learn from that experience, you apply what you learned, and you try again. It's just like washing your clothes. Like when you're washing your clothes and you're trying to get out a stain and you use a product, or you end up putting it in the washing machine and it doesn't come clean, you use a product. You scrub the product, you put it back in. You continue the process until it's clean. Same thing with dirt on your hands. It doesn't come off sometimes the first time. You have to repeat it. That doesn't mean you're a failure after the first time washing your hands. It means that you just need to repeat the process until you figure out the remedy. So that is so important to success, is the fear of failure. Failure is actually a positive thing. That means you actually stepped into the unknown. You pushed past your limit. You created a goal that is worth achieving. You weren't successful the first time, but you're going to go at it again. So let me give you an example. In 2017, I heard about this. I had ran the Tahoe 200, the Bigfoot 200. I had more experience in ultra running, and I heard about this race in the UK called the Spine Race. And it's labeled one of the 5 hardest races in the world because it's held in the dead of winter, and it's 267 miles, and it's completely self-navigated. You don't have any like ribbons or markers or anything like that. You basically have maps, you have compass, you have GPS, and you have to find your own way from the start to the finish and all the points in between. And it's on what they call the historic Pennine Way, and it's just starts south east of Manchester, and it goes all the way up into Scotland, as you can see. It almost goes completely across the entire island of the UK. Now, I wonder if I could do that. I've never ran 267 miles. I've ran 200 miles, but what's 67 more miles? Why is this so hard? And I'm looking at the pictures and I'm looking at people's experiences online, and I come to find out there is no American runners have ever finished this race. And I'm like, I wonder if I can do that. It's completely in my unknown. And so Here on this race, compared to my other 200s, you had to carry a lot of gear because it is in the winter. I had to carry 20 pounds of safety gear, like a sleeping bag, a stove, fuel, food just in case I get stranded. So you had to add 2,000 extra calories of food on top of the food that you're going to utilize. Aid stations are 50 miles apart. Every 50 miles, we get to see a duffel bag that kind of follows us, and we get to pull gear out of there and resupply every 50 miles. But those 50 miles in between, we are on our own. So 2017, my spine race experience was insane. Let me just tell you guys, the first 25 miles of this race, it had snowed the day before, and then it started to rain. And when rain and snow mix together in the mountains, turns to flooding. I found myself wading through water up to my waist about 70% of the time because the trail was down in along these riverbeds, and everything was flooding. Ice was floating by. And I'll give you an example of the craziness of this. Is we were trying to cross a river, and it was a narrow part of the river, but the river was rushing. And with how much water was going by, my experience with my dad as a youth, as a Boy Scout, tells you when a water is narrow, it's usually deeper because the volume of water. But when it's wider, it's shallower. And I saw a shallow spot up above. And so I decided I was going to trudge up through the brush and snow covered and cross this stream at a wider section. The other guys that were right next to me, this is in the first 7 miles of this race when we climbed up into the Peak District. And I go across, and as I'm coming back across this river, the guy decided that he was just going to cross right here, right at the narrow spot. It's like, why not? He stepped in, and it went all the way up to his chest, and this river was raging, and all of a sudden, he's being swept away. There was another guy on the other side of the bank that kind of crossed where I crossed. He had to drop his stuff and run and dive and catch this guy from his pack on his back, and basically lifeguard rescue him, pull him back to the side of the shore 10 feet before he went off a waterfall. I almost watched a man lose his life in that flooding. And it persisted like this for 25 miles of rain, snow, and flooding. I got to mile 25, and there was another gentleman that came out, special forces from the military, ultra runner that was doing the race with me from the U.S. And he had dropped. He quit at 25 miles. He's like, this is insane. And I'm not saying that necessarily to put myself above him, but it was that crazy. But one thing I've noticed about myself is I love adventure. And this couldn't get any more adventurous. I was like, this is crazy. I love this. It was my attitude that approached the situation. Well, during the next little bit, I fell into a bog. And I don't know if you guys, we don't have bogs here in the U.S. Bog is pretty much a marshland that's pretty much quicksand and mud pit. It could be as tall as a person and could suck you up, and no one would ever find you. I'm sure back in the day there's tons of bodies buried off into moors and bogs of the UK. I'm sure that's where it's like you can hide. I mean, the mafia would just love that place. But I fell into this bog off these stepping stones. They would put these stepping stones so that we could travel through these bogs, but some of these stepping stones would sink. It was so muddy and murky and stuff. And I stepped off to let these people pass, and I went down, and I ended up hurting my knee. And this is just, a little bit past mile 25, and I have 267 miles to go. 267 miles of the whole race. And so I just persevered and determined to push this out. But my performance was slowing down. It was very painful, popping a lot of Advil, just in excruciating pain. But I was determined to finish this race. Well, I got to about mile 200. There's a storm coming in. I could barely keep my speed up enough to keep my body warm. I had all my safety gear on and I was still cold. And in fact, my feet were swelling so bad that they could barely fit into my shoes. So I had to make the mature, humbling decision to pull out, because I'm only putting myself and I'm putting other safety rescue people. If we get caught out in there and we can't go on, we had a safety beacon on our trackers that you hit, and basically search and rescue come in and pull you out. And I didn't want to be that person and put people at risk in a storm that was approaching. But I believed in myself. This was a failed attempt. I was unsuccessful, but I believed in myself. I believed that I could actually achieve this. I could finish this. And so in 2018, I went right back, more prepared. I knew what to expect. I knew 200 miles of the terrain. There's only 67 miles that was unfamiliar to me. I adjusted my gear. I changed things up. And in fact, I covered the first 100 miles in the first 24 hours. I was up in close to the front of the pack of elite runners. And this is all elite runners. This particular year, there was 120 elite runners from all over the world running this race. But one thing we did not, it's interesting how nature throws things at you. 100 miles in, one day, coming into day 2, we got hit by the worst storm that Britain has had in over 30 years. In fact, it shut down London, it shut down Manchester, it shut down Edinburgh, Scotland, and Glasgow. The whole entire area was in an emergency state. And we were out in the mountains running through this. But I came prepared. It wasn't my fastest run. In fact, we got to points where we were trudging through snow up to our waist. There was a point in time that so many people had dropped, there's so few runners, that we were spaced out very far. And we were in the highest area of the Pennine Way, and they did a safety hold because of the weather. They wanted this big part of the weather to push through, and so what happened is they held us for 12 hours at a school, and we just kind of like regrouped, ate, and slept. And then when they released us, there had been like 3 feet of snow that had fallen, and we needed to climb up and over this mountain range. And so we trudged through that, and we were going through snow up to our waist, which is, 150 miles of snow. It's like crossing Wyoming in the dead of winter. It was very slow going. But I pushed through. I was determined. I believed that I could. And through all my experience, I was able to finish that race. I was the 33rd person to finish it out of 52 or 53 people. Did it in 6 days, my longest effort. Still to date, my hardest race that I've ever done. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I took the opportunity. I did not fear failure, and I set a goal and I worked towards it and I grew from it. Spiritual strength is part of that emotional strength. Now spiritual strength is your relationship not only with, people like to think spiritual as God, and yes, God is a big part of that if you believe in a deity. But if you don't, that's okay. Spiritual strength is still there. It's your relationship with others. It's how you treat others. It's your character. It's who you are. I like to say, what do people talk about, at your funeral? Is it the stuff that you had? Is it the things that you achieved? Or is it the person you were? How you treated others? And some of the things that make up spiritual strength is your integrity and honesty. Are you honest and in integrity with yourself? You can't lie to yourself. If you choose to be dishonest, you know. It's the trust and loyalty that you have with others. Are you loyal? Do you do what you say you're going to do? Do you stand by who you are? Charity and kindness, how you treat each other, how you treat another person, how you treat your family members, how you treat your coworkers. Do you serve them? Do you give back to them? And then forgiveness and empathy. Forgiveness is huge. It goes along with gratitude. It goes along with attitude. You know, empathy and being able to relate to others. We are all on our own journey. Nobody has the similar background, cultural background, upbringing. No one has the same circumstances. We are all individuals, and we are all on our own journey. And we need to be patient with others. We need to be understanding and empathetic that everybody has struggles. A lot of people, when they react, it's due to a circumstances in their life. And the more that we understand that, the more that we're in touch with ourselves and to control ourselves, the more importantly how we respond to how others treat us. And that's your character. That's your spiritual strength. And that can be developed through time and effort. So we talked about Laps for Lola. You guys got to kind of experience one of my projects. Now, if you are not familiar with Laps for Lola came about. Let me tell you how it came about. I'm all about things, how things happen, and I feel like things happen for a reason. Well, I was planning another project called my Mighty 5 Utah National Parks project. I was going to run all 5 of the Utah National Parks back to back to back, over 400 miles, and do some amazing videography and bring it into local schools to teach kids about getting out and pushing past their perceived limits, getting in nature, and adventuring responsibly. That was the mission of this project. But regardless of how the mission, it was not flowing properly. Basically, I was not getting the right funding. It felt like I was going against the grain. It was hard to get commitments. Things just weren't clicking like my last projects. And so I decided to push off the project to the spring. And the minute I did that, and I totally feel 100%, I'm God-fearing, that it was inspired. Because 2 days later, my friend Phil Garcia from Southern California is a trail runner that somebody I follow on Instagram. I've never met him in person, but we've communicated back and forth. He has asked me a lot of questions. I've mentored him in some trail running and experience. He posted about his daughter Lola and how she threw a blood clot to her spinal cord, which caused her to become a quadriplegic overnight. They found her laying on her floor screaming in her bedroom after complaining that evening, her neck being sore. And here, taking her to the hospital, she died in the car and they had to resuscitate her. She could not breathe on her own. This impacted me. You hear about a lot of stuff that happens to different people, but through my runs, I just could not get it out of my mind. I could not get his situation and what happened to Lola out of my mind. And I reached out to him. I followed the promptings and I reached out to him. I said, Phil, is there anything I can do? And I had these dates set aside for another project. I pushed him off. Can I do something for you? Just like did you follow what I did for Austin? Can we do something for Lola and for the Garcia family? And humbly, he was overwhelmed. He didn't know what to say, but he said, thank you. I would appreciate that. And so over the next week, I sat there and I'm like, what can I do? It's only a month and a half away. I don't want it to be really expensive. Some of my projects have taken thousands of dollars to complete, especially my Wasatch Tahoe and chartering an airplane and stuff. I need it to be simple. What can I do that's inspiring and that will help others and help Lola? And so I came up with this idea of basically running laps and getting pledges per vertical feet. It wasn't the distance that I want inspiring. It was the vertical. I wanted to climb mountains as a representation of the mountain Lola and the Garcia family was climbing. And I was taking pledges per 100 feet because if what I felt like I could do, if I was able to do that, I was going to get a lot of elevation gain. And so I basically put that together where I created a 16.5-mile loop. Each loop had 14,500 feet of vertical change. That's half of an Everest per loop. And my goal was to run at least, try to get 2 loops per day, which would have been 32 miles, it's 50K, and it would be roughly almost 29,000 feet of vertical change each day. So every 2 days I would be basically doing an Everest. And we would summit 3 peaks: Provo Peak, Lion's Head, and Squaw Peak. Now each day I'd wake up at 5 a.m. and day after day the impact was happening to my feet. My feet were taking the brunt of what was happening. And so 4 miles in, my feet would swell, and then in 4 miles, they would flush out, and I would need to tighten up my shoes right before the climb up Provo Peak. And for locals, Provo Peak is not just any peak. It's literally 1.25 miles, 3,000 feet of gain. And in this picture, it basically shows you for 1.25 miles, I was at that angle, up on my toes, climbing and descending back down. But what helped my pain and perseverance, and what you have to find things to take your mind off of and distract yourself. And one of the coolest things that I think the timing was so perfect was I watched each and every day the season grow more and change more into fall. When I first started my first lap, everything was green with just a tint of yellow here and there. And then slowly it got yellow and orange and red. And as you can see from this picture, I actually anticipated and looked forward to the beauty of being out there in nature each and every day. Now, in the end, I completed 16 laps, which is a total of 265 miles and 232,000 feet of vertical change, almost 250,000 of vertical change. We received over 150 donations from gracious, giving people, and raised $18,000 to be able to give to the Garcia family for Lola's treatment. You got to understand, it's not just the medical bills and being in the hospital and the treatment. I mean, Lola now is in a care center, like a senior living center, but it's more for her condition and rehabilitation. It's an inpatient rehabilitation. She has her own apartment. This is costing her family thousands and thousands of dollars, but she's making progress. They don't just have to pay for that, but they have to, if they want to take her in the car somewhere, they have to get a new car that's going to be able to handle a wheelchair. There's so many different things. Their whole world's turned upside down. This is a sliver, but $18,000 makes a huge difference. I want to tell you that when you're doing something and you combined it with something bigger, like your why. Like when I was running my first 200 and it shifted to my daughter, I learned that when you're doing it for someone else, you can do so much more. So I want to encourage each and one of you, as you're pursuing goals and passions, find others along the way that you can help out and support. That I'm doing this not just for me, I'm doing it for my family, I'm doing it for, my coworkers, I'm doing it for whoever around you, and serve others. Again, balanced, focused time and effort in anything you do, in everything you do. Personal life, family life, work life, the time that you spend, the effort that you put forth. This will increase your self-discipline, that frequency. Self-discipline is taking control of you, being personally responsible for you. I like to say, it's my favorite quote, I am the gatekeeper of my own destiny. Nacho Libre. Very wise. Teamwork. There is nothing I could have ever accomplished without a team. My wife, oh my gosh, my supportive wife, she is Wonder Woman. My kids, my family, my friends. A support system is crucial to success. You guys have a support system here within this organization. Utilize it, reach out. Each one has experience, resources that you can use to keep you moving forward, to keep being consistent. Put in the time and the effort of helping others and achieving your goals. Gratitude. Again, be thankful. Be grateful for tough times, hardships. Think of it as an opportunity to grow. Be thankful for the opportunity, because if you didn't have a trial, you wouldn't have something to grow and to build off of. You were not going to progress unless you have resistance. So don't think of it as a trial, think of it as an opportunity and be grateful for it. So I hope everybody stuck with me. I hope I was able to keep your attention. I know we're really limited on time, but if anyone wants to ask any quick questions, they will ask them to me, and I will answer them to my best of my ability. So until the time runs out. So ask away. Anything.
First off, they're loving it.
Okay.
Love the story. They're so inspired. And now
I saw someone ask, do you have to qualify for that run in the UK?
Yes.
You need to sign up.
Yes. So the question was, do you have to qualify for that run in the UK? Yes. I had to turn in a resume to the race organization on my background and my training. 90% of the people that run that race are special forces from different military from all over the world. I don't have that military background, but I did tell them that I was an Eagle Scout and that I had completed a handful of 200-mile races, and then I used the fact that, hey, and I'm going to be the first American, so I'll share this on my social media and to encourage other Americans. And now each and every year there's been more and more Americans and different going. In fact, the person who has the course record right now that year is an American. So.
yeah.
Yes.
Do you do anything cool with your medals?
Yeah. The question was, do I do anything cool with my medals? I actually have a cabinet that has things on display. One of the things I like besides just medals is every time I go to a foreign country or a particular special place, I try to pick up just an artifact of some sort that reminds me of that trip. So I ran a race in Belgium. I was the only American that represented the U.S. to run this 300-mile race in Belgium in the dead of winter, and picked up a little Belgium artifact that represents stuff. So I I do. I like to display it. It's a conversational piece when people come over to visit.
How do you find time to do all the runs?
Okay, how do I find time to do all the runs? So obviously, this is a very, very good question. So I used to be in telecom. I was a manager. I had a different career. And as I got into running, I knew if I wanted to progress, I needed to spend more time and put forth more effort towards my running. And so I did not want it to take away from my family life. I did not want my family to suffer for my personal achievement. So I took a leap of faith and went into self-employment, where now I work part-time. I have a very supportive wife that is patient with me when, checks are, sporadic. You work in the self-employed life. But it's given me the freedom to train, not take away from family. In fact, I have more time with my family now than ever before. And they say if you're doing something that you love, you never work a day in your life. And I don't feel it. Speaking is just like this, is probably 50% of my income. And then I do brand marketing, especially within brands in the running industry, because of my vast knowledge and my network of people that I know. And so I'm very thankful that I've been creative and problem solved in order to spend more time and effort into my career.
What's been your favorite race?
Oh, my favorite race. Oh, man. So different races for different experiences. My favorite race is probably the Bigfoot 200, which is up in Cascade. It circumnavigates. It's that race that I was running with Mike McKnight that I came up with the Wasatch Tahoe project. But it circumnavigates Mount St. Helens and then goes up through the Cascades by Adams and up to Mount Rainier. It's completely amazing with the greenery, the tree cover, the foliage. It has different diversity. I call it wild. That's the best word to describe the Bigfoot 200 is wild. My next favorite would have to be that spine race and that epic snowfall and just the misery. Why is that, everybody? Why is it that it's the most miserable things is the most cherished and they're the most special time in your life? Yeah, remember when we were poor and we're eating a top ramen and we're in college and everything felt like the world was coming down on us, but that was the special time. That was what brought people together, so be grateful for those opportunities and create opportunities to thrive.
Do you and your daughter run races together today?
Oh, so my daughters, we've ran, she's come in and paced me at the Moab 240. My wife's ran with me. My daughter is off to college, doing the college thing now. She's graduated. And she still runs occasionally. I don't push any type of running on any of my children. I don't want to be that parent but I do pay my son, that's 12 years old, $1 for every mile he runs, no matter how many miles he runs, to encourage him to earn, one, to earn money, but two, to keep physically active and unplugged from his PlayStation. All right, so I guess this is it. I really appreciate everybody. You can find me on Instagram. I go by Ultralight 007, just like James Bond. Ultralight was taken, so what's next, 007. So Ultralight 007. And then if you guys want, you can get on my YouTube channel or you can search Wasatch Tahoe Project. Ultra Running did a documentary on my project, and you can actually experience that. And then on my YouTube channel, you can actually see footage of the spine race and the conditions that we are going through. It's pretty intense. It was just a combination of video shots. It's nothing super commercial and organized, but it's good. It gives you an idea.
So we can switch out now.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. You guys, let's have one more round of applause for Ben. That was so great. Yeah, he's really just so inspirational. I saw so many of your guys' comments. They were saying they were moved to tears. I felt myself the same way. And I wanted to reiterate, are we asking you guys to run 200 miles through the rain and the snow? No, we're not saying you have to do that unless you want to. You know it's humanly possible now, but we're telling you to consider your physical, mental, cognitive, emotional, and spiritual strength. What can you guys do to strengthen that? What challenges might seem really daunting that you probably have it within you to accomplish? And really, he talked a lot about what's your why behind doing really impressive, impactful things. Why are you doing what you do? So hopefully that gave you guys some good food for thought, some good motivation and inspiration, and even some business ideas for what you can be doing going forward. So I do have an exciting announcement of our 6-month giveaways. So we have 4 products that we announced today. We are coming to a close. There are 4 people who win a 6-month supply each of these products. We've got the samples ready to send, dry shampoo ready to send, probably on Tuesday because we're closed on Monday, but the other 2 will be sent once they are available. So for dry shampoo, number 1, we've got Allie Beavis. So Allie. For kids' sleep melts, we've got Tabitha Collins. Eyelash serum, we've got Brittany Rogers. And last but not least, for the wipes, we have Olga Wonder. I know, they're clapping for me. Sweet, so that concludes our session for this beginning thing. We do have at 3:30, which is in 45 minutes, a portion where we're gonna be having the Wink game. So we have 10 people who qualified. Those 10 people have been sent the details. Hopefully you guys have downloaded the app. If everyone else wants to follow along, they're gonna have some interesting challenges. There's 10 questions. They'll be submitting videos, taking pictures, going to find things, answering questions. So me and Lindsay will be on to kind of guide that through and then announce the winner for $1,500. Following that, we've got our recognition dinner. Wish we could send you food over the camera, but we can't. So we'll be having a recognition night where we go over some ranks, things that have happened in the past year since our last summit. And yeah, we've got some fun prizes. So that's at 5:30. It'll be about an hour and a half. So we'll see you guys at 3:30 or 5:30. Thanks.